Mazda RX-7 is a front-engine, rear-wheel drive, rotary engine-powered sports car that was manufactured and marketed by Mazda from 1978 until 2002 across 3 generations, all of which made use of a compact, lightweight Wankel rotary engine. The second-generation RX-7, sometimes referred to as FC, VIN begins JM1FC3 or JMZ FC1, still known as the Mazda Savannah RX-7 in Japan, featured a complete restyling much like similar sports cars of the era such as the Nissan 300ZX. Mazda's development team, led by Chief Project Engineer Akio Uchiyama, chose to focus on the American market when designing the FC, where the majority of first generation of the RX-7 models had been sold. The team drew inspiration from successful sports cars that were popular at the time, such as studying the suspension design of the Porsche 928. While the first-generation RX-7 was a purer sports car, the second-generation RX-7 tended toward the softer sport tourer trends of its day, sharing some similarities with the HB series Cosmo. Handling was much improved, with less of the oversteer tendencies of the previous version. The rear-end design was vastly improved from the SA22's live rear axle to a more modern, independent rear suspension, rear axle. Steering was more precise, with rack and pinion steering replacing the old recirculating ball steering of the SA22. Disc brakes also became standard, with some models S4, Sport, GXL, 2, Turbo 2, Convertible, S5, GXL, 2, Turbo, Convertible, offering 4-piston front brakes. The rear seats were optional in some models of the FC RX-7, but are not commonly found in the American market. Mazda also introduced Dynamic Tracking Suspension System, DTSS, in the FC. The revised independent rear suspension incorporated special tow control hubs which were capable of introducing a limited degree of passive rear steering under cornering loads. The DTSS worked by allowing a slight amount of tow out under normal driving conditions but induced slight tow in under heavier cornering loads at around 0.5 grams or more. Tow out in the rear allows for a more responsive rotation of the rear, but tow in allowed for a more stable rear under heavier cornering. Another new feature was the auto-adjusting suspension, AAS. The system changed damping characteristics according to the road and driving conditions. The system compensated for camber changes and provided anti-dive and anti-squat effects. In Japan, a limited edition of the second-generation RX-7 called Infini was available with production limited to only 600 cars for each year. Some special noted features for all Infini series are Infini logo on the rear, upgraded suspension, upgraded ECU, higher power output of the engine, reduced weight, 15-inch BBS aluminum alloy wheels, Infini logo steering wheel, aero bumper kits, bronze-colored window glass, floor bar on the passenger side, aluminum bonnet with scoop, flare, and holder. The car was thought as the pinnacle of the RX-7 series until the introduction of the third-generation RX-7. The Infini 4 came with other special items such as black bucket seats, 16-inch BBS wheels, knee pads, and all the other items mentioned before. There are differing years for the Infini, which denoted the series. Series I was introduced in 1987, Series 2 was introduced in 1988, Series 3 was introduced in 1989, and Series 4 was introduced in 1990. Series I and 2 came in white or black exterior color, Series 3 came in shade green only, and Series 4 came in shade green or noble green exterior colors. There are only minor differences between the series models, the biggest change which was from the Series I and 2 being an S4 and the Series 3 and 4 being an S5. The Turbo 2 model uses a turbocharger with a twin-scroll design. The smaller primary chamber is engineered to cancel the turbo lag at low engine speeds. At higher revolutions, the secondary chamber is opened, pumping out 33% more power than the naturally aspirated counterpart. The Turbo 2 also has an air-to-air intercooler which has a dedicated intake on the hood. The intake is slightly offset toward the left side of the hood. In the Japanese market, only the turbocharged engine was available. The naturally aspirated version was only available for select export markets. This can be attributed to insurance companies in many Western nations penalizing turbocharged cars, thus restricting potential sales. The Japanese market car produces 185 picoseconds, 136 kilowatts, in the original version. This engine was upgraded to 205 picoseconds, 151 kilowatts, in April 1989 as part of the Series 5 facelift. The limited edition two-seater Infini model received a 215 picoseconds, 158 kilowatts, version beginning in June 1990, thanks to an upgraded exhaust system and high-octane fuel. Australian Motors Mazda introduced a limited run of 250 sports model Series 4 RX-7s, each with no power steering, power windows or rear wiper as an attempt to reduce the weight. The Series 4, produced for the 1986 through the 1988 model years, was available with the naturally aspirated, fuel-injected 13 BVDEI producing 146 horsepower, 109 kilowatts, 148 picoseconds, in North American spec. An optional turbocharged model, known as the Turbo 2 in the American market, was rated at 182 horsepower, 136 kilowatts, 185 picoseconds, and 183 lb-ft, 248 Nm, of torque at 3,500 RPMs. The Turbo model was introduced at the Chicago Auto Show in February 1986, with a target of 20% of overall RX-7 sales. The Series 5, 1989 to 1992, featured updated styling and better engine management, as well as lighter rotors and a higher compression ratio 9.7 to 1 for the naturally aspirated model, and 9.01 for the turbo model. The naturally aspirated Series 5's 13B engine was rated at 160 horsepower, 119 kilowatts, 162 picoseconds, while the Series 5 Turbo was rated at 200 horsepower, 149 kilowatts, 203 picoseconds, at 6,500 RPMs and 195 lb-ft, 264 Nm, of torque at 3,500 RPMs. Mazda sold 86,000 RX-7s in the US alone in 1986, its first model year, with sales peaking in 1980. Mazda introduced the 10th anniversary RX-7 in 1988 as a limited production model based on the RX-7 Turbo 2. Production was limited to 1,500 units. The 10th anniversary RX-7 features a crystal white monochromatic paint scheme with matching white body side moldings, tail light housings, mirrors and 16-inch alloy 7-spoke wheels. There were two series of 10th anniversary models, with essentially a VIN-split running production change between the two. The most notable difference between the series can be found on the exterior. The earlier Series I cars had a black Mazda logo decal on the front bumper cover, whereas most if not all Series 2 cars did not have the decal. Series 2 cars also received the lower seat cushion height tilt feature that Series I cars lacked. Another distinctive exterior feature is the bright gold rotor-shaped 10th Anniversary Edition badge on the front fenders, yellow gold on the Series 2 cars. A distinctive 10th anniversary package feature is the all-black leather interior, code D7, which included not just the seats, but the door panel inserts as well, and a leather-wrapped Momo steering wheel with 10th Anniversary Edition embossed horn button, and Momo leather-wrapped shift knob with integrated boot. All exterior glass is bronze tinted, specific in North America to only the 10th anniversary, and the windshield was equipped with the embedded secondary antenna also found on some other select models with the upgraded stereo packages. Other 10th Anniversary Edition specific items were headlight washers, the only RX-7 in the US market that got this feature, glass breakage detectors added to the factory alarm system, 10th Anniversary Edition logoed floor mats, 10th Anniversary Edition embroidered front hood protector and accompanying front end mask, or bra, and an aluminum underpack.